All right, we're back at the lake here. I'm excited to bring you guys a little PLO action. We're in for our usual 300. Let's get into it. First hand to note, we look down at King 6-3 on the button. There's a couple limpers, then one of the middle position players makes 30. Then seat 8, sitting to my right, goes ahead and pots it to 110. And I decided to fold here. These kings are pretty awful, even though I am on the button. So I fold, and actually it gets back to the seat 6 player, and he goes ahead and makes it 300. The other player calls. So they're going heads up to a flop of Jack 5-2 with 2 spades, and it ends up getting all in. I kind of captured the end of the hand here, and pretty sick hand. So the player in seat 6 had aces with the nut flush draw, and the player to my right had a Jack high rundown with a flush draw. So then he ends up making 2 pair on the turn with a flush, and then rivers the boat. So here we look down at ace, queen 2 double suited in a straddled pot in middle position. I go ahead and limp. An aggressive player on my left makes it 40. The button calls, and then I go ahead and pot it. The player to my left pushes his remaining chips in the middle, folds it back to me. I of course call, and we're going to a run out. Flop comes 10-9-2 rainbow. Then turn brings the 3 of diamonds, giving me the backdoor flush. River brings the 4 of diamonds, so I turn over my hand, obviously knowing I'm good, and take it down. Here we look down at ace queen Jack 6, single suited to the ace under the gun. I go ahead and limp. Then player to my left makes it 25. There's 2 callers, and I go ahead and call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes Jack 4-2 with 2 clubs. I go ahead and check. The original raiser bets 70. There's a caller behind, and I decide to fold. Turn ends up coming a 3. Then the original raiser checks. The other player bets, and he takes it down. He ends up showing the wheel. Here we look down at ace 9, 8-5, single suited to the ace in the big blind. There's a middle position open to 20, late position caller, and I go ahead and call. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes queen 7-5 with 2 diamonds. I check. The original raiser bets 40. Other player calls, and I decide to fold. If you're going to call with a straight draw, you prefer the board to be rainbow, just so that all of your outs are clean. Here we look down at king 7-4, single suited to the 7 on the button. There's a middle position open to 20. I go ahead and call, and both the blinds call, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10-8-6 with 2 diamonds. It ends up checking to me, and I decide to check, so we're going to a turn. Turn brings a king of diamonds, and the original raiser goes ahead and bets 60 when it's checked to him. And I didn't really believe him. I thought he was just taking a stab, so I go ahead and call, and then the early position player goes ahead and pots it. The original bettor folds, and I decided to fold too. He's a pretty tight player, and don't really think he's going to be making a play here. So I fold, and sure enough, he does show the nuts. So here we look down at Jack 10, 9-8, single suited in the cutoff. Folds to me. I decided to open for 20. Then the player to my left, who's pretty aggressive, he makes it 65. And folds back to me. And I just feel that he's the type of player that is just making a move. He's on the button, and he probably just thinks I'm opening with trash. I mean, granted, my hand's not great, but I decide to call and see what happens. Flop comes king 10-6 rainbow, and when I check to him, he goes ahead and pots it for 130. And I think here for a little bit, but again, I just don't think he has much. He's very aggressive, kind of twitchy player where, I don't know, I just went with a read and decided to push. And he ends up snap folding, so feels good to go with a live read, and it ended up being right, so we take it down. So here we look down at king 7-6, single suited in middle position, and I go ahead and limp. There's another limper behind, then late position player makes it 25. 1 caller to me, I call, and then the limper calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes 4-4-3 rainbow, and I decide when it checks to me to go ahead and lead 40. Kind of a blocker type bet, but definitely a good flop for my hand, so everyone folds and we take it down. Here we look down at ace 10-8 double suited in the small blind. There's a middle position limp, late position open to 25. Then the button calls, I call, big blind calls, and the limper calls. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 10-8 with 2 hearts. Then the original raiser, when it's checked to him, he bets 100. Player to my right makes it 425. And not much of a choice here. I go ahead and shove my remaining chips in the middle. And after thinking for a little bit, the original raiser calls and the other player calls. So we're going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 4 of spades, and they both decide to check, which could be a good sign for me, meaning my 2 pair could potentially be ahead right now. So we're going to a river. River brings a red 5, and it looks like a heart, and it is a heart. So 5 of hearts, obviously we got the nuts. They both decide to check. We very excitedly turn our hand over, and we're scooping a pretty big pot. The player to my right, he ended up flashing his hand to me. He had king, queen, jack 9 with the queen, jack of hearts, and I don't know what the third player had, so we take it down. So here we look down at ace, king, 7-3 double suited in the big blind. There's a couple limpers, then the small blind checks, and we go ahead and check as well. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes king, 8-3 rainbow, and when it checks to me, I decide to bet 15. Then one of the late limpers decides to make it 35, folds back to me, and I call. So we're going to a turn. Turn comes another king, and I check. He decides to bet 30, and I go ahead and make the call. So going to a river. River brings a deuce, and because I didn't check raise on the turn, I decided to try to make up a little bit for some lost value, and I go ahead and just lead for 95, and he calls right away. I turn over my hand. He says I'm good, but then he shows his hand, king, 6-6-2. So maybe lost a little value, but I don't know. If I check raise him big on the turn, I feel like he probably would have let it go. So we take it down. I ended up playing another 3 to 4 orbits after that. Didn't really get much, and we were about to hit our 4-hour mark, so decided to rack it up.
What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. Just finished up. Started out a little slow today. Didn't play a hand probably for the first hour or so. Then we did get the double suited aces. Ended up limping with the aggressive player to my left. Ended up getting it all in pre-flop, hitting enough flush on the river. Ended up winning a couple small pots after that. We had the jack 10, 9, 8 with 3 clubs. I was getting a lot of comments saying that I have to loosen up a little bit, and I agreed. So that was a hand previously I might have folded, but I ended up calling. Then the flop came, king 10, 6. Ended up just thinking he was making a play. Luckily I was right, win that. And then obviously the big hand was the ace, ace, 10, 8. Flop ended up getting it all in with the 2 pair flush draw, hitting the flush on the river. Would have been interesting to see if I would have been good with the 2 pair if say the river came a deuce. But happy to win that. I think that was probably the first over $1,000 pot that I won on the vlog. Then ended up obviously getting the full house after that. So pretty good day. We were in for 300, out for 2020. So profit of 1,720. So again, pretty good day. Definitely happy to book a good sized win after losing a good amount of the previous sessions. So if you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. If your viewing experience could have been better, please let me know how down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.